早晨，各位貴賓啊！今日我好榮幸介紹台灣一位傑出嘅外科醫生教授啊，陳肇隆教授。佢而家係長庚醫院嘅榮譽院長啊，同埋中華呢個學院嘅院士。佢今日嘅題目呢，就係叫做深根台灣立足國際醫院海外。陳教授呢，係台灣呢個肝臟嘅移植手術嘅先驅啊，開拓者。30年前1984年呢，就完成亞洲第一列嘅成功嘅肝臟移植手術。最先喺台灣採用腦死亡嘅定義，促成台灣1987年就係30年前呢，成立亞洲第一個腦死亡器官嘅移植立法，呢個好重要。以前係違法嘅，30年前開始。呢點有咩意義呢？比日本韓國早12年。呢個係促成台灣器官移植醫學嘅蓬勃發展。1997年就係13年後完成亞洲第一列嘅兩袖嘅忽角肝臟移植手術。過去30年來呢，呢個肝臟移植好多樣台灣、亞洲、全球肝臟嘅移植記錄都係陳教授建立嘅。尤其活體嘅肝移植保持全球最高嘅存活率之一啊！94年上一個世紀94年，台灣第一個兒童活體肝移植。1997年完成呢個冇輸血嘅活體肝移植。99年完成台灣第一列成人活體肝移植。2002年完成華人首例嘅活體雙肝移植。2013年完成台灣首例第單段肝移植。舊年2016年完成1500列肝臟嘅移植手術。過去佢2006年喺美國嘅移植嗰個醫學週刊月刊裏面發表嘅活體肝移植治癒率膽道被鎖症5年嘅存活率98%。2008年喺個 Transplantation 發表活體肝臟移植治療呢啲肝癌5年嘅存活率90%。30年嚟不斷嘅突破同精進嘅紀律，奠定肝臟移植手術嘅國際地位。陳教授對本人論文發表超過400篇 SCI， 並擔任美國肝臟移植嘅月刊嘅副主編。佢喺國外演講有超過300場。佢仲有一個愛心培植 國內外、台灣以外啲外國醫生，一共300多名，對呢個全球嘅全民健康嚟講呢，提高醫療水準啊！佢得好多獎，我而家就唔一個個介紹，反正呢，佢呢啲好有成就啊！咁樣，我哋台灣而家邦交國好少，但係個瓜地馬拉、巴拉圭啊，最高嘅衛生勳章係俾呢個陳教授嘅嚇。所以我睇今日嘅演講，因為太多，唔好一個個講啦嚇。咁我哋仲係聽陳教授嘅精彩演講，好嘛？多謝。
謝謝謝教授的介紹謝教授、鄭醫生、各位女士、各位先生，首先特別感謝宣主席的邀請跟謝教授的推薦。邀請信給我的指示是 preferably in English， 雖然我的英語不夠好，但是我的廣東話是一竅不通。那既然做了準備，我就獻醜了。I'm honored to share with you how our experience in liver transplantation has been a model for innovations in surgery, education of the young generation, and an avenue for empowering social responsibility. This is a patient with typical features of end-stage liver disease. She was able to return to normal life within 1 month after liver transplantation and has been well to date. I was invited by the Nature Reviews to write an article titled, "Why Does Living Donor Liver Transplant Flourish in Asia?" The great success of liver transplantation has brought about an increase in demand for the liver graft. Western and eastern part of the world cope differently with problems on organ shortage. Asia has the lowest deceased donor donation rate in the world. While Westerners campaign to promote organ donation, the Easterners sharpen their skills and focus on LDLT, as it is more acceptable in most Asian cultures. As you can see, that Taiwan and Hong Kong are the most active in LDLT. In East Asia, where LDLT flourished the most, Hong Kong declined in recent years. Japan reached a plateau. However, Taiwan and Korea are growing exponentially, and Taiwan currently has the highest annual number of LDLT per million population. While the pioneering work in liver transplantation began with Professor Stazo in the US, Asia has led the way forward in LDLT. All 5 of the earlier global leading centers for LDLT have Confucian and Buddhist heritage. Asian centers are the train engines driving forward the technical innovations in LDLT. We in Kaohsiung hosted the latest 5 Asian LDLT center meeting, and at our center we are currently doing 3 living donor liver transplant per week. To date, we have performed a total of 1,600 liver transplants. 87% were LDLT, and 22% were in children. Taiwan Ministry of Health has approved 26 liver transplant programs, and Hong Kong only approved 1 program, which is the Queen Mary Hospital. With a population of 23 million, Taiwan has 1.1 liver transplant unit per million population, and is among the highest density in the world. In Taiwan, the organ transplant outcomes are published regularly by the Taiwan National Health Insurance to ensure public awareness and transparency. In the most recent data published in 2016, our center continued to maintain as the most active center in Taiwan and with the best survival rate of 91% at 3 years. We are way ahead in survival outcome with a significant difference of 22% from the second largest center and 18% from the third largest center. Our survival statistic in LDLT compared favorably with the national data of various countries around the world. With this recognition, we have had increasing numbers of overseas patients. Most of our international patients tell us that they did their own research and came here because of the survival statistics. This patient is an American artist from California. Her pre-transplant imaging showed portal vein thrombosis, and her daughter was the donor. We reconstructed her portal vein using the recipient ovarian, subvenous, and IMV, and remodeled as triple sheet interposition graft. She's back in California doing well, 8 years after transplantation. Professor Dean, a hepatologist from Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam, was referred to us by surgeons in Singapore for urgent transplant because nearly half of the Singapore liver transplant surgeons were trained at our center. And his wife is also a pediatric hepatologist. Operative finding of advanced cirrhosis and multiple liver cancer. He's now actively helping people in Vietnam with liver disease and attended the International Preceptorship Program held in Kaohsiung. Here is a glimpse of our liver transplant program in Kaohsiung, broadcasted by the
thousands
National
of people
Geographic
come to
Channel.
Taiwan from around the world, not for a holiday, not for business, but to go to the hospital. Arriving from Dubai is the Aramin family, who are originally from the Philippines. She urgently needs a liver transplant, so the family is rushed straight to the hospital. The Changgun Memorial Hospital in Taiwan was founded in 1976 to provide affordable, quality health care for people in Taiwan. Now the hospital is opening up its beds to patients from abroad. It's part of modern medical tourism. The only solution is a liver transplant, a tricky operation in one so small. For Ia, a transplant will give her the best chance to survive. Dr.陳肇隆is the surgeon who will carry out the operation. He has one of the highest transplant 5-year survival rates in the world.
The girl here is doing very well in Dubai. I was invited to give a keynote lecture at the Asian Transplant Summit held in Manila. These are our Filipino liver transplant patients. They organized this reunion. It is a heartwarming experience to know that we have influenced the lives of so many people by transplantation. I would like to share with you a short video edited by our Filipino patients who underwent LDLT in Kaohsiung, Taiwan.
I wanna be a part of somebody finding love.
For time constraint, I'll skip this part. The road to success is not always easy. Some patients are terminally sick. This Filipino girl underwent LDLT in Kaohsiung due to advanced liver disease and ARDS. She required a ventilator for 40 days and ECMO support for 24 days. Jocelyn and her parents at follow-up clinic 5 years after transplantation. This Filipino boy was terminally sick and had cardiac arrest during surgery with intracardiac massage for 45 minutes and electrocardioversion. We managed to revive him. He is now doing well at home. This Filipino gentleman had multiple liver cancer with microvascular invasion and was beyond criteria for transplant, and his wife was the donor.
来自菲律宾的夫妻，飞机才降落就直奔陈肇隆办公室，妻子要捐肝，就牵手7年的丈夫。
Because we do a lot of research, it turned out that Taiwan Shangang Hospital under Professor Cheng seems to be the best in Asia, I guess.
Raymond and his family, he has been recurrence-free for 10 years after LDLT. Our overseas patients come from diverse economic background. For example, the parent of this Filipino child raised funds by standing in the street with an empty milk powder can asking for donation. Even though there are excellent homegrown programs in the Philippines run by teams trained at our center, many patients still prefer to come to Kaohsiung, Taiwan for LDLT because of our reputation, and surprisingly, it's actually more affordable in Taiwan. Sankei Shimbun, the reputed Japanese newspaper, published that Taiwan was the most favored destination for overseas patients requiring LDLT, while Korea and Japan were leading in the field of cosmetic surgery and cancer diagnosis and treatment, respectively. 94% of liver transplants performed for overseas patients in Taiwan have been done at our center. In 2008, Chinese citizens were officially allowed to travel to Taiwan for medical treatment. Our first patient from mainland China was a 9-month-old girl with biliary atresia. She's now in the 2nd grade and is the tallest in the class. For LDLT patients from mainland China, we have achieved a 96% actual survival rate. Since 2005, Taiwan has formulated Standard for Healthcare Quality. Gold award stands for the best in the world, silver the best in Asia, and bronze is the best in Taiwan. Our center has received 2 gold, 8 silver, and 10 bronze. As highlighted, 6 of them are related to liver transplantation. International recognition followed, with 3 of our staff listed here as among the top 30 leading global experts in LDLT. Similarly, staff from our center has been internationally recognized as leading global experts in different aspects of liver transplantation. I was invited to the presidential office to give the annual keynote speech commemorating Confucius' birthday.
中书纪念大成至圣先师孔子诞辰典礼开始。今天很高兴邀请到高雄长庚纪念医院陈肇隆院长来府报告深耕台湾，立足国际，医援海外。陈院长高雄医学大学毕业，是台湾肝脏移植的开拓者。1984年完成亚洲首例成功的肝脏移植手术，并率先采用脑死亡定义，促成台湾在1987年达成亚洲第一个脑死亡器官移植立法。30年来，在肝脏移植领域不断寻求突破与精进，也创立多项台湾、亚洲及全球的肝脏移植纪录， 并在活体肝脏移植维持全球最高的存活率。陈院长于1996年获行政院杰出科技荣誉奖，2005年获国家生技医疗品质金奖，2007年当选为中国工程院院士，2012年达成1000例肝脏移植手术。陈院长以医疗不藏私的理念，积极协助国内外医学中心发展肝脏移植高端医疗，并热心投入医援国际，对医疗外交贡献卓著。
Walking down memory lane, the defining moment of my professional life was when Professor T.Y. Lin, credited for having devised finger fracture technique for liver resection, asked me to sketch surgical illustrations for liver surgery chapters edited by Professor Saroy Khan from Cambridge, UK. My signature as an artist was conspicuously placed here. Being a third-year surgical resident when I did the illustration, at that time I had never seen a liver surgery. To make sure those drawings are up to center, I did research on all relevant material, including liver anatomy, liver surgery, and Professor Lin's paper. It was a valuable lesson. I learned that once one put in great effort in a subject, he will grow passion for it. Even back then, I could perceive that within the foreseeable future, liver transplantation would be the greatest breakthrough in the field of liver surgery. Because of this opportunity, liver transplantation has become my lifelong commitment. After residency training in Taiwan, I went to the Hospital for Sick Children in Toronto for pediatric surgery training. While in Toronto, I came across the publisher's advertisement poster about this liver surgery textbook, claiming over 240 magnificent figures. Looking at the posters, they were my illustrations, but my signature had been removed. It was also in Toronto that I first met Professor Stado. In one of his speaking engagements at the University of Toronto, I approached him with some of my burning questions about liver transplantation and my desire to be trained under him. In January 1983, I moved to the University of Pittsburgh. Back then, even at the hands of the world's most renowned surgeon, liver transplantation could still be a very bloody operation. We always had to be careful with blood spillage. You need the standing stool so your feet would not be soaked in blood. The operative gear then at Pittsburgh to withstand heavy blood contamination. A vintage picture of liver transplant fellows at Pittsburgh in 1983 must have progressed to become leaders in liver transplantation. It was well known now that survival of liver transplantation was greatly improved with the discovery of cyclosporine from 30% 1-year survival to around 70%. But in 1983, cyclosporine was not yet approved by the American FDA. It was only available in a few transplant centers in the US and Western Europe for clinical trial. So I had to go to Basel, Switzerland, and make an agreement with Santos to allow cyclosporine to be introduced to Taiwan for clinical trial. 3 decades later, I was honored to speak at the Borea lecture at the University Hospital Zurich in Switzerland. Incidentally, during my request for making trial on cyclosporine in Taiwan 33 years ago, I had the pleasure of meeting Professor Borrell, whose discovery changed the landscape of transplantation. Returning home in 1983, I assembled a team to initiate our own liver transplant program. In those days, none of my colleagues in Taiwan had ever seen a liver transplant operation. To make ourselves into a team ready for the first liver transplant, every weekend we ran simulation exercise using animal models. The organ preservation solution was not commercially available in Taiwan at the time, so we had to find the formula and composition from the literature and make our own choline solution with our pharmacist. All the painstaking effort culminated with the first liver transplant in Taiwan in 1984. Our first patient was in hepatic coma and shock in ICU right before liver transplant, 1 week after liver transplantation, and this patient was also the first successful liver transplant in Asia. Our first liver transplant had a deep impact on the medical community in Taiwan, especially with regard to the concept of brain death. It was a major breakthrough, which was followed by heated debate and repercussion from different corners of the society. Some termed it as illegal. And the chief prosecutor of Taiwan even sent a letter to express grave concern. These news clippings highlight the criticism of deceased donor organ procurement, terming it as illegal by medical and legal professionals, and I was 33 years old at the time. In Japan, the first use of a brain death donor was in Sapporo, Hokkaido for heart transplant, but controversies arose from inadequate documentation of brain death. Professor Jurawata was accused of double murder by the public prosecutors, raising questions also to the indication for transplant. This is one major reason why deceased donor donation is extremely low in Japan, because mistrust has been inculcated in the minds of the Japanese society. In Taiwan, we were well aware of the legal implications and ensured that we were well prepared with proper documentation and declaration of brain death. Soon the media became supportive of this move. In this editorial in a major newspaper in Taiwan, the government is being advocated to push for brain death legislation as a result of breakthrough effort and achievement of Chang'an Hospital. As a result, Taiwan became the first country in Asia to have legislation on brain death and organ transplantation, 10 years ahead of Japan and 12 years before Korea. Our first patient became the first successful liver transplant in Taiwan and in Asia. The concern of the Taiwan chief prosecutor became immaterial because the recipient recovered and was discharged from the hospital, in contrast with that of Japanese experience earlier. Unfortunately, our first patient died in a traffic accident on her way to work. Our second patient, now more than 31 years post-transplant, is the longest surviving liver transplant in Asia. My collaboration with Korea dates back to 1987, when Professor Sotaek Kim invited me to Seoul National University Hospital to share our early experience and to promote brain death concept in Korea. 4 months after my visit, Professor Sotae Kim performed the first liver transplant in Korea. Professor Sotae Kim is regarded as the father of liver transplant in Korea. He is now 88 years of age. In 1997, we performed the first split liver transplant for 2 recipients in Asia. This was soon followed by other Asian leading centers. In 1999, in cooperation with the University of Hong Kong, we performed the first collaborated cross-strait sharing of split liver. The leg graft was given to a baby in Kaohsiung, and the right graft was sent to Hong Kong for an adult recipient. Both patients are doing well. 11 years later, the cross-strait collaboration was repeated with the University of Hong Kong reciprocating by offering a deceased donor liver graft to Taiwan. Remarkably, the graft was sent to Kaohsiung in the very same ice chest that was used to send the split right graft to Hong Kong 11 years earlier. Sporadic reciprocal sharing was repeated last year with another liver graft offer from Hong Kong to Taiwan. We start to look into the possibility of living donor liver transplant as early as 1988. That was before any successful clinical attempt of LDLT. The Tokyo University team visited Taiwan 6 times in 2 years and collaborated in animal experiment. 2 years later, I was invited to join Professor Makuji during their first LDLT performed in Shinshu University. Professor Makuji is generally regarded as #1 liver surgeon in Japan. This child has become the longest surviving liver transplant recipient in Japan to date. In fact, the Japanese media was so inspired by our international collaboration and the breakthrough of brain death concept that they turned the story into manga comic. This is supposed to be me in my office. The story is mostly true, where apart from the car shown here being much fancier than anything I ever owned, and I had no driver. The story of liver transplant surgery, the courage and altruism of the living donors, and the historical collaboration between Taiwan and Japan inspired a series of novels with over 1 million copies sold in Japan. To gain the trust of the donors and recipients, you need a record of clinical excellence. Collaboration helps shorten the learning curve, and outreach provide the social empowerment to inspire common people to consider organ donation to fight against disease. In the comic and novel, only my real name was used for the protagonist and others with fictional names. A movie based on the novel The Lone Scalpel, featuring the concept of brain death and liver transplantation, was made. Visual and print media promoted public awareness. This is a short movie from the film The Lone Scalpel.
8号上映的日本卖座电影《孤高的手术刀》，描写一位从美国回到日本服务的外科医师，挑战乡下小医院腐败无能、不敢积极治疗病患的陋习。故事主角由一线男星提真一饰演，他在剧中打破法律的禁忌，勇敢为病人进行活体肝脏移植，救回一条宝贵的生命。精湛演技也让他获得今年大阪电影节的最佳男主角奖。但提真一的角色其实就是高雄长庚医院的院长陈肇隆。对于自己的故事被搬上大。
This book and movie were authored by a surgeon, Dr. Ogane, who graduated and trained at the Kyoto University. Here he is standing with the movie stars, proving that, once again, the pen is indeed mightier than the sword or even the scalpel. In Taiwan, LDLT was started in 1994, and this pediatric recipient graduated from university 5 years ago. This plaque commemorates my work in the early 90s, mainly on LDLT, from animal studies to clinical application and related basic science research. I began my career as a pediatric surgeon, and it is especially satisfying to see these children grow up to lead normal lives. This slide illustrates a typical recovery achieved after LDLT for biliary atresia. Failure to thrive pre-transplant contrasts with robust growth 6 months after transplant. Our published survival rate for pediatric LDLT for BA are among the best in the world, 98% at 5 years. This picture was taken 21 years ago with the first 5 LDLT recipients in Taiwan. I still see them regularly in clinic. In adult liver transplantation, the most common indication in Taiwan are hepatitis B, HBV, and HCV with or without liver cancer. As mandated by the Taiwan National Health Insurance Policy, we began using the criteria for accepting liver cancer for transplant. We tried to downstage with local regional therapy to fit the criteria before transplant. This is an example of a patient who was initially beyond Milan criteria, despite having diaphragmatic invasion and daughter nodule. 80% necrosis was achieved with pre-transplant TAE, which was favorable for transplant, and this patient remains recurrence-free for 15 years to date. Our first reported series with pre-transplant downstaging was effective in region patients who were initially beyond criteria to fit criteria. The long-term follow-up are encouraging, as those who were downstaged and no recurrence to date, with a minimum follow-up of 10 years. Our LDLT survival for HCC compares favorably to other reported experience, with the survival rate of 98% at 1 year and 90% at 5 years in our first reported series. Years of experience in local regional therapy had changed our approach in LDLT for HCC. Our results show that if there's no viable tumor in the explanted liver, the recurrence rate is only 1.2%. However, if there's a viable tumor in the explant, the recurrence rate increased to 12%. So our current policy is to aggressively downstage HCC beyond criteria. Even for HCC within criteria, we aim for complete pathological response prior to transplant to enhance recurrence-free survival. Our center has been one of the pioneers in LDLT, constantly exploring innovative techniques and strategies for the past 3 decades. We have a long tradition of sharing our skills and experience. Our international outreach in LDLT has brought us to Japan, the Philippines, and leading university hospitals in China. In 1996, we were invited to perform the first LDLT in the Philippines. Professor Ona, who invited us, became the Minister of Health of the Philippines. This was the first LDLT in Beijing, China, with a 14-member liver transplant team from Kaohsiung who demonstrated at the Peking University Hospital in 2001. This event stole some diplomatic eyes and was highlighted in newspapers in Taiwan, Hong Kong, and China as the first and largest Taiwan-China cross-strait collaboration in history to undertake a life-saving operation. Shanghai Jiao Tong University Renji Hospital is the outstanding example of our successful skills transfer under international outreach initiative. Our first LTLT demonstration in Shanghai is this 9-month-old biliary atresia child with his mother as the donor, pre-transplant and 1 week after transplant. The kid is now 10 years old and is doing well in academic and sport. When I was invited to Shanghai, he traveled all the way from his province in Hunan and presented me his printing with the message, "Where there is love, there is power." In our first and second visit to Shanghai, we brought 12 members of our team for demonstration. On the third visit, only 6 of our team were needed. With our continued support, the Renji Hospital became the largest liver transplant center in China within 5 years in 2011, with an excellent survival rate. Last year, they performed 512 liver transplants, making them among the largest in the world. Most of the Renji Hospital liver transplant staff were trained in our center. With the new transplant regulation to ban the use of executed prisoners in China, there was heightened interest in LTLT. A total of more than 110 liver transplant professors from China's leading university hospital came to Kaohsiung, Taiwan to learn LTLT. Our program is one of the 5 in Asia recognized by the Henry Wismus Hepatobiliary Institute in France, and we are active in doing our part in mentoring the younger generations of liver transplant specialists to pass on the baton. We have trained more than 330 international fellows to date, and we have trained several domestic liver transplant teams and have hosted many international liver transplant teams since 2000. Kyushu University has become the most active liver transplant center in Japan. Since 2012, our program has been regarded as one of the 2 centers of excellence to host LTLT preceptorship program. International surgeons were sponsored to enrich their knowledge in the field of LTLT, and it has been recruited to master class since 2015. I am an avid environmentalist as well, firmly believing in conserving the environment to save Mother Earth for future generations. I have constantly focused on making our hospital campus green and serene. This was how the facade of the hospital looked like in 2003 when I took charge as superintendent. This is now the landscape look now. I'm proud to have led my hospital in tree plantation drive. Of more than 9,000 trees surrounding the hospital, nearly 5,000 saplings were nurtured by myself from seedlings that came from my tree nursery at home. This is where I spend my weekend when I'm in town. My love for the nature, environmental protection, and desire to conserve Mother Earth was highlighted in this article. This quote applied to everything, not just planting tree. It's never too late to take action. As part of medical diplomatic initiative, we organized Kaohsiung Guatemala Medical Mission in 2010. After the rural clinic, I was invited to address the Guatemalan dignitaries at the presidential office. We proposed to unveil the sponsorship of a fellowship program for Guatemala doctors to be trained in Kaohsiung, Taiwan. We met with Guatemala Vice President Professor Espada, previously a cardiac surgeon at Baylor University in Texas, as he expressed strong desire to establish a national transplant center. And we have taken the first batch of Guatemalan fellows, making them part of our team to transfer our skills. When Vice President makes his diplomatic visit to Taiwan, he insists on visiting our center. Despite its hectic itinerary, he spent a long time observing our LDLT surgery. When he attended the Asian 5-Center LDLT meeting in Taiwan, he presented these news clippings showing our trained fellows ready to start their own liver transplantation. On personal request of Guatemala President Perez, we performed segment 2 monosegment LDLT on this Guatemalan baby, San Diego in Kaohsiung. They are back in Guatemala doing well. A letter of appreciation from Guatemala President and a short message from on our medical outreach program from Taiwan former President Ma Ying-jeou.
陈院长不但是国内肝脏移植的权威开拓者，也是从事医疗外交有卓越成就的一位医疗外交专家，在我们的友邦瓜地马拉有极好的口碑。各位都知道，瓜地马拉的副总统本身 Espada， 他是一位在美国行医30多年的心脏外科医师，他对我们陈院长可以说是赞不绝口。来台北待一会儿就赶到高雄来，就让我们真的感觉到我们的软实力呢，其实长庚扮演了重要的角色。
Following our fruitful experience in Guatemala, I was invited to share our experience and help to set up liver transplant program in the Dominican Republic in Central America and also Paraguay in South America. Our participation in this medical diplomatic initiative strengthened the bond between our nations, and we revisited last year. One of the highlights of my return visit to Central America was to find San Diego in good health, here with his mother Donna. The whole Guatemala adored this lovely child, here with the First Lady of Guatemala. We also reunite with the Guatemalan fellows who were trained with us in Kaohsiung, Taiwan, and it was great to know that they cherish their memory of Taiwan. They have displayed their certificate of their fellowship training and my picture in their clinic. I was honored to meet President Perez again. We then ventured to the Dominican Republic, and it was my pleasure to meet President Medina. Our initiative in offering for the fellowship training program were appreciated by the President and his cabinet. We extended our medical outreach program with the Paraguay President as well, and I was bestowed with honorary PhD at the National University of Asunción and also at the Autonomous University in Santo Domingo, the oldest university in the whole American continent. The potential for stronger medical ties in liver transplantation between our countries were highlighted in this newspaper. In all three countries, we were warmly welcomed and honored by the President and other dignitaries. Looking at the success of our medical outreach program in Guatemala, there's a lot of interest in encouraging stronger medical ties with Taiwan. This can be accomplished by enabling surgeons, physicians, and nurses to be trained in Taiwan, and also if we extend our support to establish liver transplant program in Central and South America. Further recognition was the highest civilian award, Medal of Commander, conferred by the President of the Central American Parliament. Our work in developing countries have been fulfilling and complement the recognition we have received from leading centers in developed countries. For instance, I recently had the honor of being invited to Zurich by Professor Kravian to serve as the visiting professor. In recognition of Borrell's contribution to discovering cyclosporine, Zurich University enjoyed an annual lecture. Last year, I had the honor of being the invited speaker. I was able to meet Professor Borrell again 33 years after we first met while pursuing cyclosporine. Being the first Asian to address this prestigious lecture, I was privileged to share the space with the distinguished European and American legends. Professor Jean Lelut, president of the European Transplant Society, recently retired. To celebrate his career, a grand superannuation symposium was organized in honor of him. The program highlighted my lecture as one of the two outstanding state-of-the-art addresses. During his farewell speech, Professor Lelut highlighted the contribution of Asian surgical pioneers who he valued as important teachers for his career, and I was honored to be included in this list. At the banquet, each table was named after a different city that was important and influential to Professor Lelut's career. The main table where we seated was named Kaohsiung because he studied LDLT 3 years ago in Kaohsiung. Last October, the National Academy of Science in Korea organized an international symposium to which 3 foreign lecturers were invited, each from a different continent. In addition to myself from Asia, Dr. Nigel Heaton from King's College, UK, and the third was Professor James Eason from the States, who performed liver transplant for Steve Jobs. Liver transplantation allowed Steve Jobs to survive for 2.5 additional years, giving him time to release the iPad, iPhone 4, and iCloud. He continued to innovate and change the world even as he battled illness. Last year, I had the privilege of returning to my root. I was invited to the 90th birthday celebration of my mentor, Professor Stazo, and presented him with an exotic wine, vintage wine made in his birth year, 1926. Over 200 distinguished liver transplant surgeons from all over the world graced the occasion. Professor Stazo is a legendary figure of liver transplantation, and this field would not have fructified without his groundbreaking effort. This is what I believe medicine should be. Medicine is about saving lives and selfless contribution. I believe that Taiwan used to receive help from the US, Europe, and Japan. Now, with our medical advances, it's time to give back to the international community. Altruistic acts such as LDLT and medical mission unite people across borders in the struggle against diseases and medical progress. It has been an honor to speak to you all today, and thank you very much for your attention.
好多謝陳教授，我諗大家都同意呢個係一個非常精彩嘅講座。聽完佢嘅講座，我只能夠覺得自己比起陳教授係非常之渺小。第二樣嘢喺澳門嚟講，我哋只能夠羨慕同埋妒忌，因為澳門一個 liver transplant center 都冇。 同埋另外一個好重要嘅信息係醫療無國界，而醫療亦係一個最好嘅外交大使。你諗下，如果特朗普總統係由陳教授移植咗一個中國人嘅肝臟，咁世界會唔會和平好多呢？而家係到咗發問嘅時節。
各位聽了陳教授這個非常精彩的講演，必定有許多的感動。陳教授的成功並非偶然，除了他本身的天賦，他的努力，而且他的這個成就，當然現在已經是世界著名的教授。我心裡剛剛聽了特別感動，他是個中國人講的活的菩薩，救人的菩薩，因為醫生的這個天職都是救人啦啊！各位是不是因為時間很緊湊？有沒有人有跟我們對我們陳教授來提問的？有沒有？
有個梁惠明醫生咧，佢就問：How about the guideline for choosing DDLT, LDLT, and self-reconstruct? What are the guidelines on deciding whether you use a life donor versus death donor if both are available?
Should be the same, but certainly living donor transplant is very stressful to the surgeons, because in the history of surgery, your human surgery, always the diseased people require surgery. But living donor hepatectomy is a surgery on the normal healthy person. So you cannot go any wrong. You cannot make the healthy people become patient. So it's really very stressful. 那是不得已的手术。那如果有 alternative, certainly disease donor we should be the better option. 那但是在亚洲国家，因为我们知道我们的传统观念是比较保守，所以这个遗爱人间的器官捐赠是比较有限。不过最近2年在大陆有很大的改变因为我们知道在大陆过去死刑犯器官捐赠很多，那当然在国际上很多的人权团体、学术团体有很多的争议。不过大陆也做了很大的决心，特别是黄介夫黄部长他做了很大的努力。从2005年去年1月1号已经明令禁止。当然我们不敢讲大陆明令禁止就完全没有，不过已经减少很多。但是这2年是很成功的经验。那么黄部长在去年7月8月我碰到他告诉我说，现在大陆的遗爱人间的器官捐赠每天平均有10位。那到了11月，在两岸企业家峰会在厦门举行他邀请我去演讲，他当场告诉我说，现在大陆每年平均的器官捐赠每天有15位，那所以是非常 surprisingly。那么希望遗爱人间的器官捐赠在华人社会也可以逐渐开展出
来。陈教授，我对你的这个医学的成就跟贡献，心里非常的 respect， 非常的 appreciate。请问一下，假使一个病人是 terminal stage 的 liver cancer hepatoma， 已经有 metastasis to everywhere， 那么这种情形有没有做 liver 这个这移植的需要或者是 indication 有没有？比如说到 terminal stage 了而且都 metastasis to everywhere。
我想这种情形这种情形毫无疑问，如果做这样的手术是 futile surgery。那么对 deceased donor 来讲，这个浪费了一个 宝贵的器官。那么对 living donor 来讲，这个也是我想是不应该做这样的手术。如果是只有一个如果只有肝脏坏掉，不管它多坏，只要其他的 organ， 如果是因为 cirrhosis， 因为肝硬化，那这个还有机会，除非它是我们 multiple organ failure。如果只有单一个，我们不怕它肝硬化多厉害。那么只要是其他的器官还是好的，我想一个器官移植可以 restore 它的 life。但是如果 cancer 有 metastasis， 这个是 futile， 大概是我们浪费一个器官，宝贵的器官，而且浪费很多的医疗资源。应该把这个医疗资源用在有合理的胜算的病人。
好，非常谢谢陈教授。